Well, you're listening to CKUA. My name is Grant in the program Alberta Morning. Good morning to you. That is the new release from the band Cliffs, and that's Cliffs with a K, a group featuring Mark Berube, who is an old pal and associate of our next guest here on CKUA. I am thrilled to say, coming up this Saturday, April the 1st, the Banff Centre's Jenny Belsberg Theatre welcomes the return of the great spoken word artist Shane Koyczan, long a mainstay at the Banff Centre and a huge favorite on CKUA airwaves. It brings me tremendous joy to hear myself say the words. Shane Koyczan joins us right now. Shane, it is awesome to have you here, and thank you so much for making some time to join us today.
Oh, thank you for making the time. I'm psyched to be going back to Banff. It's the home away from home.
Yeah, you're kind of an unofficial Banffite, and I love what you wrote about this gig. You say, I'm so excited to return to the Banff Centre to bring along a bag full of stories, poetry, laughs, and tears. Let's talk about the arts, the medicine that got us through it. So, Shane, let's talk about the arts. What's just
Yeah.
in your own case? What's the medicine that's been getting you through as of late? Would you say?
Well, after the 3 years of bleakness that were the pandemic, things are starting to slowly come back, and that's good news for me because art is how I support myself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
being able to go back out on the road has been just so rejuvenating for my mental health, my physical health, and all those things. So I'm just really grateful to be getting back at it.
Yeah, and you've been very candid about sharing just how difficult the pandemic period has been for you, both as somebody who works in the arts, but also just as a human being. It's great that you're back in full swing on the road, touring through your old stomping grounds in the Okanagan as well, which is kind of the scene you came out of. And I only just recently discovered, Shane, that you have called Vancouver home in the past, New York City, and for the last several years, Penticton, which is where you're from. What's it been like to be back in Penticton for about the last has been 3, 4 years or so?
Oh, it's been longer than that. I'm from Yellowknife originally. When I was 14, I was raised by my grandparents and they decided to retire. And of course, they wanted to move somewhere warmer. So I spent my formative years here being, rejected by people in Penticton, and then moved to the big city. But after my granddad passed away, my grandmother reached out and she didn't want to be alone, which is completely understandable. So she asked me to move back, and so I came back to Penticton, and I've been here ever since.
And people that follow your art will know some of your family history because you've paid tribute to your family through some of what you've created as a recording artist. You're going to be bringing a pretty full, like your body of work at this point is quite vast, and people that are coming to see you on Saturday at the Banff Centre, what kind of a show are they going to be encountering when they go to see Shane Koyczan at the Jenny Belsberg?
Well, I think a lot of it is going to be reflection on what we all just kind of went through. The thing about it is we shared a collective world experience. And so there are themes that all of us can relate to now, having gone through that. And granted, some of us, fared better than others, and some of us did not. And so, I'll touch on that, but always with a sense of, levity as well as, I use humor to sort of get through the darker aspects of maybe what we all went through. Charlie Chaplin said, laughter sharpens our sense of survival and preserves our sanity, which I think is pretty great for a guy who said nothing most of the time.
He chose his words very carefully, that is for sure.
He sure did.
Well, and I do love the way you use humor, and it always seems to come at the darndest time and just kind of let some of the tension out in surprising ways. Of course, I can't help but note that Saturday is April 1st. Is there going to be any April Fool's Day specific kind of content to the show?
Yeah, like I mean, there'll be some joviality there, for sure, and we'll sort of touch on that. Viggo Mortensen, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. I don't know if anybody knows. He's a poet.
Oh,
He'll be there.
wow.
Or will he?
Or
Because it is April Fool's Day. So I don't know. You're gonna have to maybe come and find out if he's there or not.
right.
He's totally going to be there, or is he? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, Shane, just before we say so long, I mean, your work always shows us so much humanity, vulnerability, pain, hope, triumph, fear, uh, joy, all kind of seemingly pushing toward an attempt to galvanize us to build a more compassionate world. How do you think what you do, or just the arts in general, being that you'll be at the Banff Center for the Arts, what do you think the arts can do to help us all create a more just and better society?
Arts are really reflective. They reflect not only the times we live in, but ourselves. And they're a great tool for connecting to people. I remember going through the pandemic and just there was a weird disparity where you couldn't go to a poetry reading or a concert or a play,
Mm.
but you could go to a hockey game. And I recognize sports are a good way for a lot of people to deal with their mental health. But on the other side of things, there's the arts, and a lot of us are drawn to that form of expression. And so for me, having it, having that vacuum of its absence was a really dark time for me. So I'm really happy that it's come back. And, I can't think of a better place to do it than the Jenny Bellsberg Theater. I don't know if you knew this, but I got to open that theater for its
What?
very first show. So it's
Wow.
a delight to be coming back to it.
Oh man, that's amazing. What was the first thing that you said or played at the theater? Do you recall?
Yeah, I talked about the arts and how important they are. There's a lot of it was sort of a celebration that people are coming back. Um, slowly, of course. Of course, now there's this thing with the trouble with the arts right now is that everything's bottlenecked because all the artists are trying to come back, and there's only so many venues, right?
Right.
So it's a hard time to be living in as well because our recovery depends so much on the arts, and yet we see all the time the funding for the arts get cut, and so it makes it really difficult. But they're the people. It's more about the people who support it. And so for me, the arts, like I said, that I use the arts to support myself. That's how I pay my bills and whatnot. But the arts support me in a different way as well. The mental health aspect is tremendous. And so you could ask my therapist, you could ask my doctor how dark it was for me. And so now you could probably hear the smile on my face because I'm just so excited that it's back.
As are we. And wow, what a full circle moment as it turns out to be back at the Jenny Bellsberg Theater, which you opened. That is just a beautiful way to return to full swing. And Shane, thank you so much for being here and for being so open hearted with us here today, but just through your art in general.
Absolutely. And thank you for playing the Cliffs because Mark Berube is mwah, chef's kiss.
You got that right. Well, how about, speaking of which, let's go to another brilliant recording, and that is Debris, the most recent long player from Shane Koyczan and Short Story Long. Shane, thanks once again, and please say hello to Viggo Mortensen for us.
I will if he's there. I
If
don't
he's.
know. Maybe he will be. Maybe he won't. I don't know.
Thanks,
Oh, I got
Shane.
to give a shout out to Ani DeFranco as well, who
Uh,
guested on the track Debris that
there
you're
you
about to
go.
hear.
There you go. Love it. Okay, thanks so much, Shane. Have a terrific trip. Happy trails. We'll see you in Banff.
You bet. Thank you so much.
That is Shane Koyczan, and this is the title track from Debris. Catch him at the Banff Center's Jenny Bellsberg Theater, a homecoming of sorts. That'll be this Saturday, April the 1st. Details in CKUA's events calendar.